Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure being here with all of you. And I think with the previous panel, you could still feel the pain of what we continue, the continued trauma that is happening in Israel right now. I want to thank my wonderful friends from CUFI, especially the Hagee family, Pastor Hagee and Diana Hagee, who I call Rebbitzin. Rebbitzin in Hebrew means the leader, the female leader next to the rabbi. And I can't think of a better way to describe you, because you really are the Rebbitzin of the Christian world. And of course, my good friend Sandra, who is such a force, and I look forward to seeing the development of her incredible career. And so I'm telling you, it's a pleasure that I'm here, because I didn't even think I was going to get here. A week ago, literally, my family and I were running into shelters as Iran was attacking us with ballistic missiles. Just think about that for a second. We're getting attacked by ballistic missiles that started 2 weeks ago. And we were praying in Israel that America would join us, would help us. We did the majority of the work. Let me tell you, at the beginning, just when the war started, before Iran could send they wanted to send 1,000 ballistic missiles, Israel destroyed 30% of the rocket launchers. That was the first hour. And then there was the order to unleash, I don't know how many thousands more of missiles towards Israel. But Israel, in the first hour, also managed to kill all the people in charge of giving the order to send the missiles. First hour. And the combination of our incredible pilots and the intelligence we had on the ground. Imagine this. There was a drone assembly factory in Tehran, in the backyard of Khamenei, that put together the drones that killed the senior intelligence of Iran in the first hour of the war. These are miracles. But we knew from the beginning that to finish off the threat, the existential threat faced by Israel, we needed our greatest ally, the United States of America. And in Israel, the first few days we were praying, and all of my Christian friends kept telling me, Fleur, have faith, America's going to join. And on Sunday morning, when we woke up to run to the shelter yet again, we were running in joy, because America had joined the fight. America had joined the fight, and we knew that this was a fight we were going to win. And jokingly, I said to my husband, you know, if America's joined the fight, we'll be finished by Wednesday. Guess what? We were finished by Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I get a call from the wonderful people at CUFI, and they say to me, well, you know your flight is still on for Sunday. And I'm like, okay, that means that I'm coming, and I'm just so happy that I'm here and that I made it to be here with you. And let me tell you why. Because we know in Israel, we know that our greatest ally is America. And within America, our greatest ally is the evangelical community led by CUFI. We know that. Now, what we're going through right now is a civilizational clash. People want to make this narrow and say that it's about Israel and some of our Arab neighbors, but what's going on is way bigger than Israel. It is the forces of evil, of darkness, of apocalyptic jihadi Islamism against the free world. This is what's going on right now. And the forces of good have to unite in order to beat that. And we have to unite in many different ways. And the military war is only part of that. There's a much deeper, much more insidious war going on. And it's the same war that the Nazis waged in the 1930s, and it's the war of narratives. This is a very real war, because the dark jihadi forces know that militarily they can't beat the West. Militarily, they can't beat America. They sure have tried to beat Israel militarily, but they can't do that either. But what can they do? What can they do? They can begin to deconstruct societies from within. That's what they can do. People ask us all the time, how did the Holocaust happen? How could all these people in Germany have turned into monsters? How did it happen? Well, let me tell you how it started. There was a man called Joseph Goebbels, who was the propaganda minister of Hitler. And he put a radio on every German household. And for 4 years, he indoctrinated people into thinking that everything that was wrong in Germany was the fault of the Jews. And so by the time Hitler started to commit the atrocities against the Jews, everybody was on board. That's happening here and around the West right now. We are fighting 7 proxies of the Islamic Republic of Iran. We fought Iran. We've had rockets from Iraq, from the Shias. We've had rockets from the Houthis. We've had rockets from Hamas. We're fighting a very difficult war with Hamas. We've had rockets from Hezbollah. But the invisible war going on right now on your news channels is actually very scary and very real. And let me tell you what it is. In academia, the world has turned upside down. The bad guys are the good guys, and the good guys are the bad guys. Indigenous people of Israel, the Jewish people, the people that King David created Jerusalem 3,000 years ago. The Jewish people have been in the land of Israel for over 4,000 years ago. And somehow, we're the colonizers now. That's coming from academia. The victims are now the aggressors. The feminists are supporting rape. And the queers are marching for Palestine? Are they kidding? Now let's look at the media. What's going on in the media? Well, the media has been taken over by the woke mindset, which is all about the oppressor and the oppressed. And of course, if you're Jewish, you can never be oppressed because you guys work too hard. You're successful. You have to be a very, very special type of victim for anybody to feel sorry for you. Certainly, you can never be a victim. And so the news is not news anymore. The news is an agenda. They platform anti-Semites that are bottom feeders. They're the worst of the worst. They're fringe. And all of a sudden, they're platformed and raised. Comedians now are political commentators. And they're taken seriously. You have thousands upon thousands of Christians being killed, slaughtered in Africa, in Egypt, in Syria, never in the news. Because the people killing them have to remain the victim. God forbid the real oppressor should be called the real oppressor. And that's what's happening in the news right now, on your screens every single day. Al Jazeera, which is funded by Qatar. Qatar have a lot of money. They've already bought the souls of your universities, but they've also bought the media. Switch on any news channel any day and see how many adverts are about Qatar. So it's not just Al Jazeera, it's almost every news channel that you will switch on. They've bought the souls of academia, and they've bought the soul of the media. And this is what your children are consuming. And this is infiltration. This is that war that we're facing, because we're going to be done, please God, with our enemies soon. But what's going to be left? This infiltration in the West that has turned the world upside down. Let me tell you a little story. The BBC, we all know who they are, right? The BBC won't even call Hamas terrorists. A few months ago, they did a documentary about a poor little boy from Gaza whose life is so miserable because of the war that Israel has launched. Of course, everybody forgot who started the war on October 7th, but let's put that aside. So they follow this kid around who's got perfect English. They finish the documentary. They announce they're going to put out this documentary. They have the name of the boy, and it takes one researcher an hour and a half to discover that the boy is not his real name, that his parents are fake parents, and that in fact he's the son of a minister of Hamas. That's the BBC. So, because every single week there's an anti-Semitic crisis with the BBC, they said, okay, we think we're not going to put it out. But then comes another channel called Channel 4. They're like MSNBC, okay? And they said, hey, we'll take the fake documentary, that's okay. Because they're not telling the news, they're telling their narrative to you. And that is the problem, that is infiltration, and that is the invisible war that we're all fighting every single day. Today, journalists act like influencers, and influencers think they're journalists. The world has turned upside down. And they've also managed to dupe some people that you would think would be our allies. Certain people in the Republican Party, certain people who even call themselves Christians. What I want to do with those people, like Tucker Carlson, is very simple. I want to lock him in a room with Pastor Hagee for 2 hours, and I want to see how he comes out. I want Pastor Hagee to tell him what real Christian theology is about, and not use Christianity as an excuse to be an anti-Semite and go around propagating all sorts of conspiracy theories about Jews. Jews control the banks, Jews control the media. Well, you would think that if we control the media, we'd be doing a much better job. I don't think we do. If they're accusing us of it, maybe we should just do it. But thank the Lord, we have you. Because you have not been duped. You have moral clarity. You see right from wrong. You don't get confused. Unfortunately, many people do. Many young people who don't know enough, and many older people who are looking for an excuse not to like Jews. But you see the truth. You see who we are. You see the importance of Israel as an American ally. At the end of the day, last week, we didn't ask for American boots on the ground. We simply asked for a little help to finish the job. Ambassador Mike Huckabee, who is, of course, a wonderful believer, I have the pleasure of seeing him almost on a weekly basis in Jerusalem. But this, to me, was the most meaningful thing I've read in a long time. When he wrote a note to President Trump, which then President Trump put out on his social media. These are the two sentences that got me. Said, President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania, to be the most consequential president in a century, maybe even ever. You may have many voices speaking to you, but only one voice. It's his voice. I want to thank all of you for spreading his voice. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Israel.